Our candidates cannot be seen to threaten the mainstream of this country. Again, our mission's got to be to pull folks from the middle, give the independents in this country a reason to come vote for us. And although we should never, ever abandon those core conservative principles, we must stop speaking only in ideological terms and start putting these principles into action in pursuit of a vision that we've got for how we want America to be in 10 years. We can only do that. We can only be convincing to people if we speak to them in a relevant way. Now think about it. Think about the single mom who works in a suburban office park somewhere in this country. And what is it that she is worried about when she goes to bed at night? Well, I can tell you she is worried about her job right now. Because if she loses her job, most likely she's going to lose her health care. And then she's not going to have the ability to make sure that her children go see the pediatrician that she wants them to see. You know, Republicans have solutions. We went through this drill in the stimulus bill. You will see us in the House and Senate continue to go out there. If we don't embrace what this administration or Pelosi and Reid are doing, we've committed ourselves to coherent counter-proposals that respond to real challenges like the working mom who's worried about losing her job and her health care. We know that it's about choice. It's about that mother knowing she can decide for herself which doctor to go see. It's about that mother knowing that her doctor, the pediatrician that her kids see, can make the decisions of what type of treatment. Not some board up in Washington that is headed up by Rahm Emanuel's brother Zeke. And that's what's going on right now, under the radar, but yet it is going to happen if we don't stand up and stop it. Now, talking about relevancy, what about the millions of small business people out there right now? Small business people are having difficulty keeping the lights on. They're not even taking home paychecks in a lot of cases because it's that rough out there. Not only do we have to distinguish ourselves against what the Democrats are doing, card check and the like, we've got to put our solutions on the table to demonstrate that we get it. That's why our response to the stimulus bill was all about small business. Because small business is the job generators in this country. 70% of the jobs in this country come from small businesses, entrepreneurs, and the self-employed. We recently had a small business forum in my district in Richmond, and we assembled 25 people to come and tell us what's going on. This woman who was there, she ran a web design company. She had 7 employees. She was so off the charts incredible. She was a Democrat. She looked like a Democrat. She had a name like a Democrat. And yet she advocated the principles that we believe in, and I've never heard it advocated so well. So we brought her up to Washington last week so that she could testify in front of a hearing on small business issues. And what she said was this. She said, you know, first of all, I can tell you I don't fall in those high income tax brackets. She says, so all the talk of tax increase, they're not impacting me. But you know what? I do want to be in those brackets. And when I get there, I don't want the government raising the taxes. She said, I want to be able to make my business work. I don't want government standing in the way. She was so incredible. She said, what has happened? What is going on in Washington? Where is the America I grew up with? Now, this woman's like all of 26 years old. She's like, where is this America that I knew, that valued hard work? The America that said if you played by the rules, you worked hard, that you'd be rewarded. And she's looking at these policies of injecting all these taxpayer dollars into these failed financial institutions and wondering, how in the world do we get here to reward failure? Where all of a sudden did we come off forgetting about those principles of personal responsibility and about accountability and not taking on more than you can afford or ensuring that there are consequences to one's actions? In America, she said, in America, isn't it still about equal opportunity, not equal outcomes? This is who we are as Republicans. And frankly, this is where Washington has gone awry, and it's time for us to start speaking out on these principles. And the way we win, I'm convinced, in 2010, we start talking to the future of this country. I have said, we've all said, the future of the Republican Party is linked to the future of America. The future of our country lies in the youth, the 18 to 29-year-olds that are out there that have voted in droves for the other side. Thank God we have the likes of Josh Mandel, Adam Hasner, and others who can take our message out there to the youth of this country. We've got to do it now. If we don't do it now, we are going to miss it. We're going to miss it and potentially stay in a minority status in this country for some time to come. But what it means, what our message needs to be for the future leaders of this country is linked to the definition of what a bailout means. What does a bailout mean to the people coming up? What does doubling the debt burden mean to the youth of this country? You know what it means? It is captured by asking one question. And Josh, when you go out there across Ohio and you're talking to college students and you're talking about our future, because I know that all of us are asked, how are the Republicans going to go appeal to the youth in this country? Look at Obama. He was such a cult figure. How are you going to combat that? We're going to combat that by asking them, who do you think is going to pay for all these billions of dollars in bailouts and the trillions of dollars of additional debt? I think that my teenage kids get that. There is nothing free. Now, the Democrat budget, as you've heard a lot of folks say over the last week, it spends too much, it taxes too much, and it borrows too much. And when you look at what it's borrowing, and the new numbers came out yesterday, the new numbers say we are going to add $1 trillion to the deficit, to the debt of this country through $1 trillion deficit every single year for the next 9 years. Now, what that will do is double the debt burden on the people of this country. Currently, each and every one of us owe $35,000. That's every man, woman, and child. When it doubles, obviously, I can do that math, it is $70,000. Again, we go out and tell college kids or students in high school, before you even begin to pay back your college loans, before you even contemplate taking on a mortgage, it's $75,000 and climbing if we don't do something about it. So I come back to us here at the RJC. And like all of you, I'm a product of immigrants. You know, my grandmother came over here from Russia, and she was widowed at a very young age, but she raised her 2 children, my father and my uncle, on top of a grocery store in downtown Richmond, Virginia. She did it, and times were tough. She worked 7 days a week, and she sacrificed because nowhere else on this earth could she have the dream that her children and her 2 sons could have the life that this country can make. This is the message of freedom and opportunity that somehow we as a party have to go and meld into an effective pitch to the young people of this country. It is tied to accountability. It is tied to hard work, but it is tied to an awful, awful lot of reward. Again, I thank you very much, RJC, for being an extended family. I look forward to continuing to see each and every one of you as many places as we can be to try and make sure that we elect the future leaders of this country as Republicans at the state level, at the federal level, and yes, when we begin to work on each and every level of government so we can retake the majority and retake this country. Thank you all very, very much.